Hey everyone, Angelo here, Hollywood filmmaker, recovering hobo, greatest screenwriter in the history of the world. I come to you from my balcony in Hollywood, 7:45 or so in the morning, Saturday, what is today? November 5th. And the birds are chirping. The birds know my message, what I'm going to say. Been doing a lot of writing, been pushing myself with that. And this week has been the longest week of my life in many ways. I've had very many rough weeks in my life, and I'm not complaining. I'm grateful for them. This week just wore me out, an exhaustion to the point where I was pushing myself, staying up late, writing. I can't even remember a lot of what I was doing now, but I was just strict about, my discipline. Let's see, what is the writing? I had my writing class this week. That went well. And when the writing class goes well, it doesn't mean I excelled at the assignment. I did some things good, some things poorly, but it means I learned from it. Because my writing classes are not for grades. It's not a university course. It's a workshop. So you can get it out of it, whatever you put in. I mean, it's very helpful to listen to the teachers and work with them and collaborate with them and try and understand why are they teaching it this way. And that's what I'm trying to do, and I'm trying to exceed their expectations and set an expectation for myself that's entirely unreasonable, because I want to have very high standards for the level of specificity and impact that I write for in my screenplays. And working my job is just, it's a good job. I'm like a film, whatever. Doesn't even matter the job. This goes for, I'm speaking for every working person in a way, even though my job is nowhere near as difficult as many jobs. And I've worked some, pretty difficult jobs. My hardest job really was working in a movie theater, customer service, thousands of customers a day. On our busiest days, on weekends, we'd have 4,000 people coming in to Regal Cinemas. And this was 2004 and 5, so this is like one of our biggest days. I think was when Wedding Crashers came out. I think we had like 6,000 people come through in one day. And just realizing how, first of all, multiplexes for movie theaters and corporations are soul-sucking, soul-sapping jobs, positions in life. And I'm not even talking about my job. That's the thing. There's nothing specific about my job that does that. It's when people are working so they can pay to live, because we have to pay to live. We're the only species that does that. And you don't have ownership of what you do, meaning you can be lazy, you might get, reprimanded, you might get demoted, you may get, discipline spoken to, or nothing would happen. Or you may be very hardworking and you may get noticed, you may get commended, you may get a pay raise, or nothing really will happen. And I'm like, you have to not rely on anybody to determine what your value is and why that's your value. And it continually makes me rethink and recontextualize, what is it I'm doing? Why am I working? What am I working for? I've always thought, I don't care about the company's profits, because that makes you a sucker. Don't be a sucker. Now, I've been suckered, but I don't want to be a sucker. Meaning, work well, work hard, but not for some result, but because it matters to the people around you. And then decide what values do you have within, where you work hard. So, if you want to make sure your workers are uplifted, talk to them. Don't wait for managers to find out for feedback. Find out what they think about different aspects of your job, how you collaborate together, how you work. It depends on the job you do. But at least let them feel listened to, and set the boundaries, the appropriate boundaries for how you work together, so you make clear that you all can talk, that they can speak to you, and that you all can take some ownership of your own positions, and managers know how dangerous that is. Man, when workers start wanting to be treated with respect, valued, those stories, you hear about people like quitting and, well, people's bosses abusing them, managers who aren't even making much more than them and don't even have like equity in the company. They may be making $2 an hour more than them, but power tripping as if they're the executives of the company. And then the managers, pissing their pants in fear after they've abused their employees, and the employee quits and they realize, oh crap, I need this person. Or they realized that before, but they're just such hard-headed chauvinists that they didn't care. And I've seen that at jobs, and I'm like, that's the most pig-headed, bullyish, self-centered, like you're willing to sort of slash yourself to slash your opponent because you don't even think about your own well-being or self-preservation. You're poisoning yourself to poison someone else. And that's how you become a manager in many cases. But if you are a good manager, you're still upholding, the executive's pay. Every time you do a good job, like customer orders are coming in, whatever the case, that's more money, more orders being exchanged, and that money you're just mostly kicking up to the executives. You work harder, oh, you're kicking up faster, faster. You get nothing more. All you get is strain and stress and a feeling of being used and drained and demolished. And this week in particular, nothing dramatic happened. I'm realizing I am like pushing myself so hard, and I'm not doing it for the company. I'm not doing it for the executives. I'm not doing it for the managers. I do it, for one thing, for my own mood. I have to be doing a lot or I don't feel good. I can feel it within like a few minutes if I'm just sitting and relaxing, not doing something meaningful. It doesn't mean I can't sit, and relax, but I mean, like, if I'm not doing something, I'm trying to, just do something that's meaningful to me. Read, write, watch a movie, learn something. Then my mood, I can just feel it, my body like shifting to where it's just turning so bad. I'm like, uh-oh, I need to write myself back up. I need to do something, or else it's not just that my worldview, it turns so bleak and dark. Fortunately, I virtually never have those moments now because I've learned a discipline in myself to avoid that and to always push myself and strain more. And I get excited now when I realize, oh, I feel like I'm like like a toddler learning to walk when I try some new skill, and that my muscles are so weak and my coordination is so off. Now I get excited by that because I'm like, oh, that means I don't know this. So that means I have a lot I can learn to get better at this. And so that means if I'm not good at it, that shows I know it's something I can try and do and become good at. And it means, hey, that's exciting, something new, whether it's whatever. For me right now, I'm actually joining a writers group. We're gonna have our first meeting. I'm looking forward to that, excited, because it's something I'm not good at, because it's something I don't know. And I want to feel and hear the feedback, not even on my writing, that's not what it's about. The feedback on how we interact with each other, how do we learn from each other, meaning us, the writers. And it's nice because there's no profit involved. We all have ownership of what we're doing. This is not relying on HR, not relying on a manager, not relying on billing, not relying on a corporate infrastructure, where again, you're just kicking up money as fast as you can to those executives. And you're working way harder than they are. And those managers, first, not even the executives, the managers are kidding themselves, thinking they're in a higher class of people than you are. And their bosses are kidding themselves, thinking they're in a higher class. And then there's the richer and richer people who view the people just making under $10 million as low class and poor. And then the ones who view you, if you only made $50 million, as being poor. You see what I mean? Like, it's never ending, like just eating itself. How much you can want to acquire and how much you do it by exploiting other people. And that's let alone from, abuses at companies, bullying, harassment, bigotry. So being in a writers group is great because I'm like, oh yeah, we should have communities outside of work. And I do, but this last week especially, it's been nonstop, just like working, grinding, both at my job and at home, not sleeping much, pushing myself, the stress on me being massive. But that's okay. Like, it's not even like I'm victim to it. I'm like, oh, okay, now I have to spring back from that stress, almost like stressing a bed, like a stress test on a bed. Like, like a company, if they're testing a bed to see how much force can it take, and the bed has to be able to exert an equal force back, otherwise it'll just collapse and be crushed. So that's what I have to do. So being part of the writing group is good for that, because it'll be instructive to me, an example to me, like, yeah, what can we do when we cut profit out of it, and we all have ownership of what we do, and we're valuing each other and valuing ourselves. Who knows, it may fall apart, it may not. It's hard. For one thing, I'm seeing it's hard to just coordinate a time with everyone to meet, because corporations exploit us so much that we barely have time for our personal lives. 2 days off a week is not enough to really have a life. We all should be having at least 3 days off a week, because right now also my body has not had enough like rest time to recover from my workouts and my diet. Like, I'm pushing my diet and workouts so hard. But what I heard from Mike O'Hearn, and I'm on his meal plan and workout plan, which is great, he says you can only train as hard as you are able to recover. So he's like, you think, oh, work out more, you're just going to get stronger, right? And he's like, well, that means if I just work out 8 hours a day, I'm going to be even stronger, right? He's like, nah. You have to, what's it called, with the muscles, stimulate the muscles, not annihilate them. Because when you annihilate them, when you overwork out, which it turns out that's what I was doing for a while, for a long time, I was working out 7 days a week, doing so many sets and barely having any gains and not having the right diet. You can't even eat enough to recover from that. And so now it's kind of changing my relationship with food, with my body, with myself, and to realize I'm on a continuum where the decisions I'm making will affect the next, my body after that. And it's really cool. It's good. Puts things into perspective. It gives clarity. And again, I can't even say the reason why I do it. It's not to be thin. It's not for anything other than, my own well-being in a way. Now, what is well-being? How do you define it? I can't totally, because what you could say, what is being healthy? Well, it means having what? This blood pressure or this physiology or whatever. Well, a person can have those things and yet be really unhealthy in some ways. Their mental health can be poor, or a person can be missing a limb and really healthy, or have cancer and be, relatively like really healthy. So that's a hard thing to define. But anyways, I'm spinning off. Oh my goodness! I saw this GMC like Suburban. Like it was like less than an inch away from scraping this other car. That's the other thing I got to make a video about. Cars are a scam. I want no cars on the street. I want us to be able to take back our own streets and just be able to enjoy them and walk down them, and for them to be safe for old people, for people with mobility issues, with kids. For kids. Just not just the people with kids, the kids too. They should be able to be safe on them. Seriously, a lot of kids are killed in LA from being hit by cars. Let's get more people-centered support. And that means I want to encourage all you out there, all of you watching, reach out to someone and talk to them. That sounds so corny, and at 37, it seems so true for me. Talk to people, find out, like, ask them about them. Don't talk about yourself. Ask them, hey, what's going on? What's your problems here? What's the challenges for you? What's unexpected for you in this? People want to open up generally about their problems. And if they don't at first, there are hummingbirds up there. It's because they've trained themselves not to. And I get in that mode sometimes. Sometimes I just don't want to talk about things bothering me or whatever. I'm like, yeah, let's talk later. I'm just trying to relax right now. But find out, because when you find out, that's the thing, it becomes undeniable what the common problems of people are. So many of our problems are the same. Corporations exploiting us, landlords exploiting us, streets unsafe, traffic's terrible, the air is poison, we're not paid enough, everything's too expensive, there's too much pollution, corporations are dumping away stuff they could give away, like so many clothes and so much food that they could just give away for free. Oh, but it's not profitable for them, so they can't do that. It's not going to help their bottom line if they do that. And their philanthropic schemes, which are basically like tax havens for them, ways of getting out of paying taxes, that are like basically legal scams. It's like just a part of our system. It's so widespread we don't even notice it because it's everywhere. It's like saying, oh, where's the shadow here? Well, this whole street's in shadow right now because the sun is, on the other side of the building. So it's like we don't even notice something when a shadow is cast over everything. You can't see the contrast between the spot, with more light and the spot with less light and shadow. Anyways, so value yourselves. I'm going to get to writing. I'm going to get back to my diet. I'm going to do a lot of writing today. I'm saving money. I'm not going out as much, not going to theaters. I'll watch movies at home on the streaming services I have. I'll save money, not eat out as much, not cheating on my diet as much, not overwork out. That's the thing. Before, like, to try and increase my mood, I would do some extra push-ups and stuff. Now I'm realizing like I'm pushing myself to my limit in many ways. And so there's no sense in going beyond that. And so know the healthy boundaries for what I should be doing to help myself, Read, and talk to people, connect with them. When you realize, you have bonds that aren't formed around, life for a corporation, working for a corporation, paying money to a corporation, you realize, we can do stuff to take ownership to help ourselves. Like, we don't actually have to rely on a company to do this, and this for us. Maybe we can make our own money. Well, maybe we can provide our own goods. Maybe we can make stuff for ourselves, and link together. And I swear, if we all did that, we should just push the landlords to the edge of town, push all our bosses to the edge of town, say, screw you. And the thing about that is, man, you think like how much corporations and the police are aligned to protect them. They would send in the National Guard with rifles and tanks and everything if we were to just say, hey, we're going to take ownership of our own buildings. We're going to have equity in it. We're going to, run our own communities. We're going to make life people-centered and not profit-centered, not stakeholder-centered. Oh man, that would change things. Make for a life that has room for art and creativity and not just soulless multiplexes of movie theaters where it feels like just herding people in like cattle to a theater to like, I'll have this, fun little arcade ride of an experience of a movie. You're done. Go back to equally thoughtless, experiences in life and entertainments and pleasures, which is fine. Doesn't make me better than anyone. Everyone is at where they're at in life. I'm saying let's give people who want more opportunities to enjoy their life the possibility of that. And it starts with you talking to someone and reaching out and learning about what are the possibilities out there. Read something, just read a novel. I'm not being specific because I'm saying you figure out your path. I have this Sherlock Holmes book I bought. I want to read that. That's been like burning in my mind for a while. I want to read this. What's the author's name? Patrick Henry Doyle, Arthur Conan Doyle. Stuff like that. It's not easy. Not everyone people work 2 jobs. I've worked 2 jobs before, just to barely pay your bills, be in debt on a car, be in debt to your credit cards, finance the most basic things in life. Anyways, So try and get together. That's the thing. Just help, get your own consciousness expanded, enlighten yourself, help yourself. And you can do it just by talking to people and connecting. Because I realize I've been so alienated from people, not even because like I don't have friends and stuff, don't go out, I have been, but it's where my mind's been at, so focused on my grind and working so hard. And it's good to work hard for me. Like I like that. I like having that effort in my life, but to have it be meaningful. And that means doing stuff like these videos. Even though, yes, it's for a corporation runs it and all, yeah, we can't, like, it's the whole infrastructure right now. And so we have to work within that to make our lives better. But reach out to people, talk to them. Thank you.